The wildest announcement in the history of Call of Duty happened this past offseason. OpTic and Envy, two of the biggest organizations in the scene, merged, giving fans everywhere a new super team to root for, involving the likes of Scump, Dashy, Shotzzy, and Illy. Hands down, one of the most talented rosters to ever be constructed in the history of Call of Duty. But the question is, what's going wrong? What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be talking about OpTic's form since the beginning of Vanguard, their willingness to make team changes in the past, and the one thing that I think they need to do if they want to have a good year. Also, make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I'm going to be giving you my personal OpTic dream team for the Vanguard season. A team that would rival the likes of Atlanta FaZe and Toronto Ultra. And honestly, they start out the beginning of Vanguard very strong. In fact, a lot of fans and other players thought that OpTic was the team to beat going into the CDL kickoff, and they thought that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with for the entire season. But after an underwhelming performance at the kickoff, it was kind of noted as a one-off. You know, it doesn't really matter. It was a preseason event. It was single elimination. There wasn't really anything on the line. You know, there was some money, but it didn't have any effect for the Vanguard season. You know, OpTic's going to turn around for week one when the stakes actually matter, when every map, every series matters for the overall season of Vanguard. And now that the first week of the CDL is in the books, I'm shocked, to be honest. Much like most of you guys that are watching are as well. I had OpTic going 2-0, and I had them winning in fairly dominant fashion. They were playing two teams that I would say weren't on their level. Okay, they had an easy intro to the CDL season, going up against London and Minnesota. Now, those teams aren't the absolute worst teams in the league, but we're talking about OpTic, right? We know the players on their team. I thought that that was going to be an easy week for them. They're going to start out the season strong, and they're going to ride off of that momentum and continue to improve. But the reality of it was they ended the week 0-2. They lost to both London and Minnesota. I don't think anyone would have predicted that. They should have been beating these teams 3-0, 3-1. You know, they need to be able to close these series out against the teams that you're supposed to beat. Not only are they sitting at the bottom of the standings, one major issue that I've seen from the matches so far is they don't really have an identity. And it's not like they've been getting bodied in these matchups. In fact, in the majority of each individual map, they've been playing it very well. They've played 10 minutes of every map. Fantastic. But they just can't seem to close them out. So the question is, what's going wrong here? Is it their teamwork? Well, I'll be honest. Right now, I think OpTic play the best when the games are mixy, okay? When it's a little bit more chaotic. But when it comes to closing the games out, where it's more structured, you know, the game kind of slows down, OpTic seem to disappear in these moments. And it's why you see them lose games where they have a big lead, whether it be in hardpoint or S&D up 4-2 round count. You know, you're supposed to win those games. You're supposed to be able to close those out if you want to be a great team. But how? How does this OpTic team not know how to close out a game? I mean, they have proven winners, championship winners, championship players. How can this four not figure out how to win these games when they have to? And I know most of you guys are going to say, whoa, Enable, slow it down. Okay, it's only been 2 games in the season so far. There's a lot of game left, and that's fair. This isn't the end-all be-all for this OpTic team by any means. But things need to change, and they need to change fast. Because it doesn't take half a season to find out your team's ceiling. Okay, we don't need half a season to see this current OpTic team's ceiling. And for context, we'll use OpTic's Cold War team last year. Okay, I know it's a different team. There are some of the same players, but they didn't make a team change once the entire year. And while they were, I would say, a top 4 team for the entirety of the year, but they just couldn't seem to crack the championship level teams like Atlanta FaZe, like Toronto Ultra. They were just always stuck in that 3rd, 4th range. And we saw that from the very beginning of the year up until the end. Now, I know at Champs they got 5th, 6th, but if you go back and you look at their placings, they hovered around that 3rd, 4th placing consistently. And that goes for any team, by the way, not only OpTic. You will find your ceiling rather fast. I've said this before, but from personal experience, you know, and so the OpTic fans don't think I'm coming at them. My 100T team back in Black Ops 4, when we were formed, people were saying this team can rival OpTic Gaming on paper when it comes to talent, right? This team is one of the most talented teams in the league, and we had superstar players from top to bottom on our team. And in the beginning of Black Ops 4, we had some success online. Nothing crazy, definitely not living up to our expectations and the expectations of our fans and just the COD community. And then we go into the first event and we get top 12. I knew, and we knew as a team, we could be a solid team, but we will never be a championship team with this 5. And it's just simple. You just get a feeling for it. I don't know how else to explain it. You just have to kind of experience it. And I'm not saying that if your team is formed and you don't automatically get top 3 at your first event that you're never going to win. It's not about that, but you have to be rapidly increasing. Okay. Right now we're seeing some regression with this OpTic team. And I think their biggest issue right now is not the talent. It's not the teamwork. I mean, the talent is there and the teamwork can be improved. But the biggest question mark for me is who's their leader? And you can't say Rambo Ray or Sender. I'm talking about a leader in the game while they're playing. And I'm not saying it needs to be a drill sergeant type of person by any means. You don't need to have that personality. But look at the teams. Look at Atlanta FaZe. You have Arcitys. Look at Toronto Ultra. You have Bance. Look at Seattle Surge. You have Accuracy. Now, they have different styles in terms of approaching the IGL role, right? And while, yeah, some teams, like if you look at Atlanta FaZe, they might bounce ideas off each other a little more now than the beginning, but that's because they've already built that trust. They've already built that team chemistry. Whereas OpTic, they haven't yet. They haven't got to that point where they could truly trust each other in the game. But I'm personally not worried about them yet. I think that it is soon in the game. They don't need to be winning every map, every series. It's not what I'm talking about. But they need to start finding some sort of consistency. Because while it's clear that this OpTic team is unbelievably talented, they can't spend another season behind the likes of Atlanta FaZe, of Toronto Ultra, and the other championship caliber teams because of the fans. And for themselves, quite frankly. They have so much talent. They have the biggest organization in the CDL. The fans are expecting them to be in the finals.
They are the greatest roster in Call of Duty history. OpTic Gaming are officially the Call of Duty World League champions.
To be at least a contender. So they have to turn it around quick if they want any hopes of that in Vanguard. And if you guys are still watching, you're probably wondering, what is my OpTic dream team for Vanguard? And I'll keep it simple. It would probably be Shotzzy, Illy, Scump, and Accuracy.